Welcome to the Militia Gaming Community. I'm Trigger, and this video is all about the 2010 RX-8 Gold Edition in the Crew 2. Let's go! Alright, there she is, that gold sweetness. Look at this. You got the turbo coming out of the hood. That's a beefy turbo too. Oh my goodness. This is the Gold Edition Mazda RX-8. You have the regular RX-8 here that you can purchase, but this Gold Edition, you had to win this as a platinum reward in the last summit, in the Gold Seeker Summit. So this thing is pretty exclusive here. But we're going to take this out on some races and then show you the pro settings for this car and then talk about how it compares to some of the other cars in the game in terms of overall speed and its statistics. But first, I want to show you the customization options for this one because there aren't very many. Now, you always have the option to change the livery on your car. This will change all of the black that you see on the car, but all of the gold on the car you can't change at all. So there are a bunch of different liveries that the community has put together, and some of these look really cool. Like this is a Need for Speed Hot Pursuit livery, which is awesome, man. Some of these are really, really nice. But yeah, again, you can't change any of the gold. So when you do customize this thing, you're gonna have to do it in a way that sort of complements the gold coloring. Now, aside from that, you obviously can put on your vanities that you've earned throughout the game. I don't have any good tires that I think would look good on this, so I'm just gonna leave it at stock. The smoke, I put on the Bucks-shaped smoke because why not, baby? It's a money car with gold everywhere. And some of the other things I don't really care for, like the NOSes are okay. I actually would like this red one, but none of these really match the gold too much, so I'm gonna leave it alone like that. So that's really it for customization. You can't change any of the body styling or the parts or the interior. It is what it is at this point. So let's talk a little bit about the performance of the car. After putting a full nitrochemist set on here with a full 280 parts, you're looking at a top speed of 226. Now that is because I have my pro settings set like this with my gearbox all the way up. If I move the gearbox down, your top speed is going to go down. So I like the gearbox all the way up. It does fine in some of the lower gears, so we're gonna leave it like that. In fact, let's just go ahead and go over the pro settings now. So what I've noticed is the rear end slides out just a tiny bit. So I've moved the aero distribution towards the rear just a little bit. That takes care of it, but it does cause a little tiny bit of an understeer. You just have to know that that's what's gonna happen when you take a sharp turn. So be prepared to brake early and hit the turn at the right angle. But that takes care of the wheel slide in the back, and I absolutely hate a loose rear end. I'm talking about on a car. Aside from that though, I've got that gearbox like I said up at 10. Obviously you want max grip on both front and rear tires, and the brake power at 10 is fine. Brake balance is fine at the stock 7, but we've got a problem with the suspension. It was way lower than this, but I moved all of the suspension up. I needed a much stiffer suspension for the car, so I've got all the suspension set at 8. No camber on this one, and then I moved the anti-roll bars up to 8. If you put it all the way to 10, the car is really stiff, and it makes it so where you go over corners, it just doesn't feel, or sorry, you go over curbs, it just doesn't feel right. So I dropped it down to 8 instead of 10, which is, 10 is pretty common for like hypercars and Alpha GP, but I've got this set at 8. So these are my pro settings. Let's take this thing out on the road, man. Ah, man, it looks so good. I just love driving it. Oh, it just sounds so good, dude. This car sounds amazing. That rotary engine just screaming. Oh my goodness. Alright, the car feels pretty good in lower gears. Top speed is it could be better. I feel like it struggles at the top end, like between 180 and about 220. It's a little sluggish. But besides that, it actually does okay in the lower gears. And you can kind of save your NOS to help you in the top side, the top gears. It feels really good to drive though. I mean, as far as like the handling and stuff is concerned. I mean, of course, I hit a wall when I'm talking about handling. But this definitely feels pretty good. So let's go ahead and move into a race. I just wanted to get a feel for it, but all right, let me load up a race. Let's see. Let's go into the Sleeper. The Sleeper has a lot of like sharper turns. It's kind of a slower race. Top speed doesn't play much of a factor on this one. So let's go into this and see how this baby does.
Wow, your sleeper car just woke up in a big way.
All right, off the line, not bad at all. And when you hit the NOS, it moves. Brake early, take this turn super wide and avoid the jump. I did kind of mess that up though, I landed in the water. Try to land on this platform. Help you with some of the top speed with the NOS. There we go. I don't feel like I took that turn very well, but that's okay. I always like to take this shortcut here. I think it's a little bit faster than the jump. Alright, coming up on this last bit of this race. This feels really good. I like the tune that we've got. I like the pro settings we've got. I've tested this before. So I'm okay with the way this is handling. And we NOS to the finish. Let's go. There we go. Let's see where that ranks. 224.5. 224.5. I think I've run this in the below 220. Let's see the leaderboard real quick because it's 218 with that BMW M8 interception unit. So this definitely could have been faster. I probably made some mistakes, but it didn't feel as fast as that M8. So I don't know, man. This is a great looking car. I love the way this car looks. I really wish it was faster, but damn, it's fun to drive. It's easy to beat the AI driver, so you don't have to worry about that, man. If you love this car, it's definitely fun to drive. It's a nice car to have in the collection. So, yeah. Take a look at the inside, though, huh? Okay, it's kind of plain. Not gonna lie, it's kind of plain on the inside. That's okay, though. We're not worried about the inside. Not on this car. God, it looks so clean. Man, I'm sorry if you did not get a chance to win this. You're gonna have to wait till that summit comes back around so you can win it. But this car is super clean. There's a reason why they put gold everywhere. Look at this thing. Oh my goodness. Alright, so in addition to showing you this car and just kind of talking about everything, including the customization and the stats and things like that, I wanted to share with you a couple of things that I started working on with regards to Cars in the Crew 2. I'm building a spreadsheet on my computer that you guys are going to be able to access at any time that shows a bunch of different things that sort of give you more information than the game will give you. So for example, I've looked up weights for some of these cars so that we could establish a power to weight ratio. That's really helpful in terms of figuring out which cars are going to be the fastest. Aside from like the handling, obviously that doesn't play into it, but it'll give you a good idea of which cars can be faster than others. And so far I've looked up about 5 different cars. We're still really young with this, but this Mazda RX-8 has a power to weight ratio that comes out to about 26%. So the power represents 26% of the weight. In other words, it's around 1 to 4. So 1 being the power, 4 being the weight. So the idea is that you want the power to be very high and you want the weight to be very low. Now in this case, this card puts up 800 horsepower, but it weighs 3,000 pounds. If you can get that higher, where the power is much higher and the weight is a little lower, then your percentage goes up, right? So we've got a 26%, 26.11% for this Mazda RX-8, but we want that to be like 30 or 40%. If it was like way up there, 30 or 40%, the car would be an absolute rocket ship. So the higher you get that power to weight ratio percentage number, the faster the car is going to be. Now this doesn't take into account anything when it comes to handling. So the handling does play a huge role in your times on these races, but that power to weight ratio is just a really good indicator of how much power this car can put down and how quickly it can accelerate. So that's something I want you guys to pay attention to, and it's in my spreadsheet. I will link that in the description down below. You can see that. Now the other thing that I'm going to start tracking is the time for these cars on 2 races. Number 1, the sleeper. That's the race we just did. I know this race like the back of my hand. It's a tighter, shorter race. Top speed really doesn't play too much of a factor in this, and it's a great test for cars' handling ability and acceleration. And then the other test that we're going to be doing is the street race called Detroit Interstate. This race has a lot more openness to it. It's got highways, it's got straightaways. It doesn't test the car's handling very much, but it does test the car's top speed and acceleration. So we don't have a lot of cars to compare this with yet, but these are 2 numbers that I'm gonna consistently talk about whenever I look at a new car like this. We're gonna run them through those 2 races and sort of compare the cars to other cars in the game, and hopefully we'll have a list at the end that shows you which cars are the fastest and which are not. All right, that's basically it for this one, guys. If you have any questions about this, the car, this video, any video on my channel, you guys know you can hit me up in my DMs on Instagram or Twitter. I take a look at every single DM, I read every single comment, so let me know if you have any questions. I will definitely get back to you. Just give me a little bit of time there. All right, thank you so much. Shout out to all the Militia subs, and I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.